Broadcasting live from Lotus Field on the plain of Dominaria, this is TapTapConcede. Welcome, everybody, to TapTapConcede. My name is Graham, and joining me this week is Wheeler.
Thank you for having me, Graham. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you, and nobody else. Today,
Good.
We're talking about 60-card formats. Welcome to, what were we saying before we started recording? 60 on 60?
I said 60 on 60, an hour talking about 60-card formats, but then somebody's going to be like, well, what about the sideboard? And then the 75 on 75? No, it's not the same.
But then if we call it 60 on 60, then we can like eventually get the inevitable like North 100 60 on 60 crossover, which of course will be north of 60. This is funny for very specific people. Canadians.
Is it?
Sorry. It's not funny.
Okay.
But it's...
Well, it's not relevant.
No, it's not relevant either.
Okay, so...
60 north of 60 is a beloved Canadian television program from the early 90s. That's it. It's not culturally relevant now.
Great.
So.
That's great, man.
CardKingdom.com sponsors this and all of our Magic escapades here on LRRMTG. Use the code... go to cardkingdom.com/LRR rather for all of your buying and selling cardboard needs. They're a great place to buy your cards, and if you do buy your cards there and tell them Loading Ready Run sent me, button please, they'll give you a little button which right now says my deck isn't bad, it just hasn't won yet. And we have confirmation that works. Actually, Gavin Verhey sent us he posted it actually.
What did he buy?
I don't know what he bought, but he was like, look, I got the Loading Ready Run button. So thank you, Gavin. That was fun. He was up here recently. We filmed some stuff, which you'll see. You've seen some of already, and you'll see more of it later. Wrap those cards up in the best sleeves you can get. Dragon Shield. Use the code LRRMTG5 to get yourself a 5% discount off anything you buy on the Dragon Shield store. And most importantly, everything we do here is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon or by becoming a member on this YouTube channel. So I'm here to facilitate you being here to talk about constructed formats because I'm less knowledgeable on what the state of things are, and there are so many of the constructed formats. But there was a banned and restricted announcement on May 18th with a whole bunch of changes. So many things banned, so many things unbanned. So let's start with Standard, where nothing was banned or unbanned.
Wow, great.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be good, right? If nothing was changed in Standard, then Standard's probably
good. Is in a bit of an odd spot. It's not bad. There are a lot of positives about Standard.
Okay.
And to set the stage, there are some of these formats I play more than others. I do play a lot of Standard just because, you know, sometimes I find myself on Arena and I have the cards and...
You're like, oh, this is quick.
I really like blue and red cards, especially when played together.
Oh.
And those are doing quite well.
Still good.
Yeah, still good.
Even though we banned Vivi, right?
Yeah. And Corey Steelcutter.
Right.
And
Monstrous Rage
and Heartfire Hero. I mean, that was more mono red.
Yeah. But is it still doing quite well?
This town ain't big enough. Yes. Yeah, it's still really good. Like, there are different... The thing about Standard right now is that there is a lot of diversity in what you can do. So, for instance, for Is It, while you might see people who do not play the format complain about... They're like, oh, it's mono steam vents all over the place. 1, not true. 2, you're bad. 3... It's different for every single Is It deck. You have, for instance, Is It Prowess, which is pretty straightforward, quite strong. Storm Chaser's Talent probably does a bit too much for a 1-mana card, but, you know, quite good. Is It Spelementals, which uses a combination of some of the elementals from... Well, one of them's from Wilds of Eldraine. The other one's from Bloomborough. The Hearth Elemental that gets cheaper for all the spells in your yard. The Eddie Merc Crab gets cheaper for all the spells. And then I don't even know. Sunderflock, I think is its name.
Oh, yeah.
I don't actually read the card names, just what they do.
Doesn't Sunderflock bounce all non-elementals when it enters?
That's right, Graham. And so it costs blue for a 5/5 flyer that bounces all other creatures in play.
right, because it gets cheaper as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 7 blue for a 5/5, but it costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest mana value among elementals you control.
And helpfully, a lot of the Eddie Merc Crab and the Hearth elemental, they 7 drops.
Oh my god!
But they are also have their cost reduced. So for all the ops you're casting and bounce offs and burst lightnings, cheap spells, you kind of just control the board, get yourself to a spot where you play a crab or an elemental, and then you attack them, and they're like rebuild, and you're like Sunderflock, and they're like damn it, rebuild, and you're like Sunderflock. Then you kill them. And there's some other, spin-offs of blue-red, like not, some that still kind of dip into the prowessy version, some that get more in the control kind of version, like we've seen some blue-red. There's a card, I just call it Tablet because that's its name, but it's from Secrets of Strixhaven, that it mills and you can add, it adds mana, but it adds, you get to cast the card that you mill.
Oh, we were calling it Dog Box on stream yesterday.
Oh, not the Dog Box.
Tablet of Discovery.
Yes, Tablet of Discovery. So you mill a card and can play that card this turn, and then it adds a red, but it adds double red that you can only use to cast instants and sorceries. Good news. We have so many of them we want to play. You can build this. The most popular one is a Jeskai Black version, where it plays this massive Jeskai spell that it slices, it dices, it basically feels like you're casting Cruel Ultimatum, as well as some powerful black instants and sorceries.
Or Jeskai spell.
I think it's just called Jeskai Revelation. The game's usually over when it gets cast.
Okay.
It is
Jeskai Revelation.
Yes.
4 and the full Jeskai, so 7 mana. Instant. Return target spell or permanent to its owner's hand. Jeskai Revelation deals 4 damage to any target. Make 2/1/1 white monks with prowess. Draw 2 cards. Gain 4 life.
Yeah, that's so much. So
that's even better than Magma Opus. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, what I'm trying to get to, and I didn't even talk about lessons. Is it lessons with Gran and like the monument stuff? Also, just a version of that is more on the cool but rude kind of discarding. So like Steam Vents is doing a lot. It's not just one thing, contrary to what people are saying. So it feels really diverse.
Because that was all just the stuff that you're talking that's like related to Izzet.
Oh, and I didn't even cover
presumably there is a mono red deck.
Yes. Yeah, you could play mono red. There's the one of the other decks that I play is the Omniscience build, which has gone from blue-white to blue-green to now it is primarily red-blue with a bit of a green splash for the dog. Kona, the survivor dog, to sneak it out, and for Formidable Speaker. It uses the Flip Ashling from Lorwyn Eclipse. It's very cool. The point being, there's a lot that you can do with Steam Vents and friends, and that's just the blue-red decks, right? You still have the landfall decks that you saw. There's this cool Mardu discard. There's a bunch of stuff you can play. It's diverse, but there are 2 main things that kind of sour the berries for players, especially those that like, when you talk about this, people tend to really zone in on even I did it. They're like, hey, are you playing this format or are you just like hearing other people complain about it? And if you're playing, how much are you playing?
That's a great question.
Because like, if you're playing standard, then it can be pretty fun, pretty open for skill expression as well. But there should also be consideration for the FNM players or the people that show up to like a random, the play on arena or whatever, because that is a majority of the player base. And that part of the player base, while you shouldn't just take their word shouldn't be your entire decision maker. Like if they are just running into the same thing over and over again, which they're not, but they feel like they are because there's a bunch of these cards that came out from Foundations that lead to a lot of similar kind of play patterns, right? Omniscience, Foundations, has lasted all throughout these bans, these changes. It's evolved, it's adapted, and that's cool, but it's still getting omniscienced. Getting opted and burst lightninged into the dirt, and, the unsummoned, I guess, or whatever, like, that's cool, and it's done differently across all these different builds, but it's still opt and burst lightning, 1 mana spells being really efficient. Llanowar Elves. There's a couple of different ways that you can build Llanowar Elves.
Yay.
And people get, their ire is often targeted to Badgermole Cub or a Roboroid. These big mythic, Badgermole Cub's not a big mythic, but like these mythic rares that like tend to all play very well together and tend to create this like very predictable kind of play pattern. This is the big thing that people on both sides of the coin kind of complain about, is that like some people can say like, who cares that we're seeing all these Foundations cards all over the place. But like, it's the fact that a lot of them are very cheap cards that just play into very similar play patterns that are insurmountable when you're on the draw against them. Like the Llanowar Elf into Cub, into a Roboroid, or into like a big Rhythm, or, just trying to put Omniscience into play on turn 4 every single time. Opting into Burn Spell, into a Braid, into whatever. It's like, it gets tiring. But like, what do you do? Because a lot of this is a product of the how Standard is set up.
Yeah, because Foundations is around for ages now.
Foundations is around for ages. We still have, is it Wild? No, OTJ, MKM. I'm trying to remember the 2023, like the latest set.
Does that website still work? Does that like what is in Standard?
Yeah. We've got everything rotating out. The soonest is Wilds of Eldraine,
right.
Lost Caverns of Ixalan, Murders at Karlov Manor, OTJ with the big score, Bloomburrow, and Duskbound.
I was trying to figure out which was the oldest.
So Wilds of Eldraine.
Wilds is the old. I'm trying to also think about what LCI cards I run into. And I don't, maybe there's something that I do run into that I don't kind of clock as LCI. I've been Tishana's Tidebindered or something.
That's so funny that Lost Caverns feels so much older.
Yes, yeah. And the point being, there's a big Standard. There's a ton of sets.
Yeah.
So not only does it extend for quite a lot of time, there's a lot of sets getting pumped into there. And frankly, like, understandably, it doesn't feel like Standard players are the primary target of design for Standard legal sets, which doesn't feel great. No. And it's not on the devs or designers or whatever, because like they gotta, that's their goddamn job. They're given like 5 months to put out a set or whatever. That's tough. They don't have the time to, really go into the tank like they
Standard
used to.
Standard is like, if it's meant to be the premier constructed Magic format.
Right.
And it feels like Wizards still wants that to be true.
Yes.
But, like, I guess we know that Commander is the most popular constructed format.
Right.
But Standard is meant to be the marquee, like, this is the professional
You
level.
should get people playing Magic the Gathering by making them play Limited and Standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that was the mindset way back in the day. Even like kitchen table Magic is just like, they're playing kitchen table, but that means using like maybe suboptimal Standard legal cards, because those are the easiest ones.
Those are the ones that you get.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so they've kind of moved away from that.
Yeah.
They've expressed like wanting to have that.
It feels like they keep
still be there.
saying that that's the case,
Yes.
but they're not necessarily doing it.
Yeah, power level is a big issue. Also, there was a change made, if we want to move on, because like that Standard, no changes made. I don't play enough to make a judgment call because I enjoy winning with my Steam vents. And I'm having a good time playing it, but also it's almost as if the non-games or the games where I feel like I lack a lot of agency because they got to execute their turn 4 instead of me getting execute my turn 4. It feels like it's... so I've been playing this game called Pokemon Pocket, where it's like a very condensed version of Pokemon.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot, but it doesn't matter because the games are so quick. And I'm like, why would I get invested in this? Because it doesn't matter. The game's quick. And that feels like I don't know how to accurately kind of like have a descriptor for exactly that kind of gameplay, but it feels like a lot of standard, certainly online, feels like it's looking to capture that of like, you lose, you don't care because it was just quick anyways. You win, you do care because, well, you won and you're the best player in the world. So that's my relationship with standard right now. I'm enjoying it.
I mean, clearly they seem to think it's doing okay if they didn't touch it at the moment.
Again, because diversity is very important for them because diversity also just means optics. And so if it looks like it's diverse and looks like there's a lot of options, you're going to be able to build whatever the hell you want and show up to your local tournament with it and be like, wow, I played against 5 different decks. And then 3 of those killed you with a Roboroid on turn 4. And
there's a note in the article from JD and Clemperrin saying that obviously the Badger Mole Cub and Izzet variants, are things that they're sort of keeping an eye on. And with Pro Tour Secrets of Strixhaven, Izzet Prowess was 30% of the metagame share, but it didn't get into the top 8.
Another classic of like, hey, look, there was none in the top 8. Check out how diverse it is. And it's like, okay, but the top 8 itself, obviously prestigious, wildly important. Show me that top 32.
Yeah.
Like the top 32 best players in the world or whatever, or the top 32 placing players, maybe you got some goats of the game that stumbled, that didn't just hit their 3rd land. They mulled a 6, kept a 2-lander or whatever. They played what they could, but again, the opponent executed the game plan in a certain way, and they just caught too many L's to make it to top 8. Like those are still results that are worth looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying that anything specific should be done, but it's like the 1-mana cards that are running around in this format it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Well, how about a 2-mana card? I'm going to go down the list in the order that they put it in the banned and restricted announcement.
Sure.
So next we're looking at Pioneer, where they banned Corey Steel Cutter.
I remember the reaction to this was I thought this card was already banned in Pioneer.
I also thought it was already banned in Pioneer. It's banned in Standard, right?
Yeah.
And other formats?
No.
Okay.
Pioneer is in a weird spot.
I was going to say, wasn't this also like, they remembered Pioneer exists?
So Pioneer feels like it should be, the sentiment is that Pioneer should be what Standard is right now. Like to tone down Standard and then take the current Standard pacing and apply that to Pioneer. And right now Pioneer's not really anything. There wasn't any kind of like regional qualifiers or like any this will get you on the PT. Like you can't hop on the train or like big money events for it. And like if you look at the Pioneer challenges and whatnot that are on Magic Online, you follow Fire Shoes or whatever, those numbers are low, dog. There's which is kind of a shame because like it feels like Pioneer should be something they should use more, right?
It sounds like they made an announcement.
They did, yeah.
That more support or appearance of giving a crap about Pioneer is coming in 2027.
Yes,
but we're not even halfway through 2026 yet.
Yes,
so.
Yeah. They made a promise to kind of make it more important.
Yeah.
In however many words and however many ways, we don't know what that's going to look like. It would be nice. I've enjoyed some of the Pioneer that I've played. There's some weird stuff going on there, but there's also some like it's just the cards that got banned in Standard that they haven't banned in Pioneer kind of running around until they banned those cards in Pioneer.
Like Corey Steel Cutter.
Yeah, I can't make much comment on this, but like it's always interesting to see what is going on in Pioneer.
Give me the briefest, most succinct what's the problem with Corey Steel Cutter? to relitigate when it
one
was
in a
banned
red
Standard.
artifact equipment. Equip creature. It just produces so much value for such a little cost. Again, the game itself has sped up. There are a lot of 1 mana cards, a lot of very efficient cards, and this gives you a game piece. Quarry Steelcutter repeatedly creates game pieces at the cost of playing Magic the Gathering, and you play Magic the Gathering using very mana efficient interactive spells or selective spells. So, like, it's just you're getting rewarded for playing cheap cards, and playing cheap cards is a reward in and of itself. You pay 1 mana and deal with their 2 mana card, you're up. That's huge. You play Opt and find another card, that's huge. You know, but you also just get these 2/2.
You keep getting bodies. 1/1s.
You keep getting 1/1s with prowess. That, you know,
That
it starts to,
auto-equip,
it just starts to become a problem.
You play the cutter and then you opt, and then you have this 2/2 with trample and haste that's attacking. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, again, in a world where 1 mana cards are so prevalent and powerful, Quarry Steelcutter is insane.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, for now at least, our joke about Pioneer in episode 2 of the recent season of Friday Nights is still valid. So,
What was
fine
the
by
joke?
me. It was about how it's not on Arena, because they still haven't added all of Pioneer to Arena,
Right.
because they had Explorer, which was like, or is still extant.
I'm not telling you anything about historic or... Oh, wait, no. There's a historic change that is so goddamn funny. Maybe we should talk about that.
Not historic. There's an alchemy change.
Okay.
We'll get to it. All right,
Okay.
Modern. Modern is next.
Oh, good.
Two bans, 2 unbans.
Yep.
In Modern. Kind of fascinating here. So, Flage, Titan of Fire's Fury, is banned. Like all good MH3 cards should be.
I've made it pretty clear my thoughts on MH3 as a whole. Right?
To reiterate.
Oh, I think it... ruined is a strong word, but I think it's the worst thing to happen to Magic the Gathering, like, of all time.
It really messed up a lot, but especially Modern. For the set that was like, oh, it's Modern Horizons. We're going to see what we can do with Modern. We're going to put these cards right into Modern. Whoops. We ruined Modern.
Just a lot of bannings across Modern, Legacy, Vintage, Commander, a lot of pointings and stuff like Canadian Highlander, a lot of
Flage pointed?
homogenizing of no, Flage isn't, but Nadu, Psychic Frog.
Psychic Frog's such a messed up card.
Yeah. And it's a funny card because it's like fair in Modern.
Flage, as a reminder, it's 1 red white for a 6/6. It enters, you sacrifice it unless it escaped. So it's a variant of like the cycle of, you had Uro and you had Kroxa and ones like that. So it's that kind of thing. When it enters or attacks, it deals 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. So it's 3 mana. You play this Lightning Helix, it dies, and then you can escape it for only red, white, and escape 5 or exile 5 other cards. And then it comes back and you do that again.
So that red is very important because there's another card from, take a guess which set.
Modern Horizons, 3?
That's right, young man. Called Arena of Glory.
Oh, right.
This is the red land from this rare land cycle that has tapped at a red, and then you can pay a red, tap Exert Arena of Glory to add red, and if it's spent on a creature spell, gains haste until end of turn. Quite strong with Flage, because one, it provides red, which I guess you would have had if you paid a red in this, but red for the Flage cost, the escape cost, meaning that your Flage comes into play, Lightning Helix is something, then can attack immediately and can Lightning Helix something again. Meaning that if the board is clear, you can just go 12 to the dome and you gain 6 on the way. But it can also just kind of kill 2 cards and push 6 damage.
Oh my god.
And gain 6 life. So Flage and Arena of Glory were kind of the ones in discussion here. They both found home in they were both in the Boros Energy deck, which is still kicking it to this day. They're both cards that have like Arena. There's a lot of conversation about which one should have been banned, and I play Modern, but I don't play enough to say one or the other.
I feel like the previous wisdom has been that if they have an opportunity to ban like a sort of a flashier headlining card or its less interesting enabler, they'll go for the less interesting enabler so that they don't have to like it feels like if they had the option, they would have banned Arena of Glory and been like, that makes Flage that makes Flage still very powerful but less frightening, so that's enough. But evidently Flage, they were like, that's still too good.
Yeah, there's the Dark Ritual Necropotence conversation, kind of tale as old as time. Which one do you deal with? And they take it on kind of a card by card, interaction by interaction basis here. Flage, not only in that Boros energy deck, though, the Flage has shown up in some more niche decks, like the Boros Wildfire deck would play a couple copies of that. That's a deck that got a lot stronger with Secrets of Strixhaven as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of a pet. I played the mono white version of it, and then I started playing this Boros version of it. It's so funny. People don't run basic lands, so you just like erode their creature. They find their basic. You path their creature, you find your basic. You white Orchid Phantom their thing, and oh, that's weird. They didn't find a land. What if I play Cleansing Wildfire and blow up your land, and you can find a basic? Oh, you didn't. Oh, you didn't.
You're out of basics.
Well, I guess I'll draw a card anyways. And then there's like another one from Avatar. It's insane. But there's also a Just Sky Blink deck that sounds more family friendly than it is. Taking advantage of now, I want you to take a guess. There are two main cards that show up in that deck that are really powerful.
Okay.
Some of them with Flage. What set do you think they came from?
Modern Horizons 3?
That's right, Graham. I mean, Philia, Exuberant Shepherd, pretty
yeah.
good when you warp out, say, a Quantum Riddler.
That dog.
Or you play a cool card from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Casey Jones, or whatever the 3-mana Casey is. I forgot its actual name.
Which one's that?
It's a 3-mana 3/2 first striker. When it ETBs, you draw 3 cards, and then at the beginning of your next upkeep, you discard 3 cards at random.
Right. You just play them as quickly as possible, right?
Yeah, and then
but also you blink him.
You blink it and do it again.
Right.
And now you have all these discard triggers. Those are bad triggered abilities, Graham. Good news. There's a card called Consigned Memory from Modern Horizons 3 that costs a single blue and has Replicate for 1 generic, where you counter a colorless spell or triggered ability. So you draw 6 cards, and then you play this and replicate it and counter the delayed triggers.
The discard triggers?
Or, for instance, you counter the trigger that Flage has that says, hey, I entered the battlefield, but I wasn't escaped.
Oh.
And then you got a Flage. Or an evoke trigger for a Null Drifter or Solitude. There's a bunch of stuff you can do.
Wait a minute. This card is bad.
Yeah, Consigned Memory is kind of insane. It's there's a lot of good, but also the way that it does its job makes me sick. And this will come up later.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
Great.
So Flage, a bit of a problem.
Yep.
Shows up in more places than Arena of Glory for what it's worth as well. And also just like, while Arena's very powerful and you can do some stuff with, well, another deck that we're going to talk about in a bit, it's also, Flage is just, it sucks to play against if you're trying to play creatures.
I mean,
right?
I think you could have stopped that sentence just
Yeah,
after it sucks to play against.
Yeah, I mean, it's they have some consideration for like, hey, we want people to play creatures, and we want people to play creatures maybe where they don't have to do something immediately, or it doesn't have to be like Boros or whatever. Like, one of the ways to beat Flage, play Goblin Bombardment, or just play a bunch of 1-mana cards so that the 3-mana card doesn't trade super well, and then you're just playing Boros against Boros and whatnot. Boros, for what it's worth, Flage got banned. Boros energy is still quite good. Still quite good. There's also some, there was a Mardu energy variant showing up that kind of pulled from actually the legacy version of this deck. That was like, we don't need Flage anymore. We can have, our mana's a little bit better. Let's play Orcish Bowmasters or whatever. I think it won a 60-person challenge a couple days ago as of time of recording. So don't don't worry. Boros energy still good, even without Flage.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I was concerned.
Yeah.
The other modern banning is Lotus Field.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is the land with hexproof, and it enters tapped, and when it enters, you sack 2 lands, but it taps to add 3 mana of any one color.
So there's this little deck called Amulet Titan.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lotus Field was part of that problem, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, so this triggered ability, there's a couple of fun things about this, is that sacrificing the lands is indeed a triggered ability, not a replacement effect. They could have pulled a Lotus Veil from Weatherlight, but they didn't do that, which is understandable. Lotus Veil is, it's a rules nightmare. But Lotus Field is a triggered ability, meaning that the previously mentioned Consign to Memory can kind of counter it.
Oh, right.
Or you can just go, actually, thank you. I want you to sacrifice these lands. Because the way that this deck, Amulet Titan, uses the titular amulet, an artifact that says if a permanent would enter the battlefield tapped under your control, you untap it.
This is Amulet of Vigor?
Yes, from World Wake there. You layer the triggers of untapping it before you sacrifice it. So you can have these come into play, untap it, tap it for 3 mana, and then sacrifice it. And then that mana can be used to activate Aftermath Analyst, which is a pretty cool and good Magic card.
This one I'm not familiar with.
Okay, Aftermath Analyst is a creature from Mirza Karlov Manor.
Yeah, I am actually familiar with this, obviously.
Mills 3 lands or 3 cards on ETB, important. And then pay 4 mana to sack it. Return all land cards from your graveyard to play tapped. So this includes all these Lotus Fields, but then you're going to sack all your lands anyways to put them back in the graveyard. And we've already added a bunch of mana. Surely there's got to be something going on here that can help us out.
There was a second word in the name of that deck.
Oh, the Titan?
Yeah.
Primeval Titan's pretty important at tutoring up the Lotus Fields.
Oh, okay.
And some of these lands.
It is just prime time. All right.
Well, there's another card, Graham. Now, I want you to guess which set this card's from.
I've been doing well so far. Yeah. Let's see if I can get this one right. I'm going to guess. Hang on. What if it's Return to... Wait, no, hang on. Modern Horizons 3.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yay!
So there's a land called Shifting Woodland.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This is actually the green land in the same cycle as Arena of Glory. That they all enter the battlefield tapped unless you control a land, basic land type, or a land with the basic land type of Wooburg. So Arena of Glory for Mountain, Shifting Woodland for a forest. Taps out a green, then has Delirium. You pay 4. Shifting Woodland becomes a copy of target permanent in your graveyard until at a turn. Activate only if there are 4 more card types in your among cards in your graveyard. Okay. Pretty easy to get when you're milling with Aftermath Analyst and losing Urza's Sagas to the Saga ability and all this stuff. So we make this a copy of Aftermath Analyst, which then sacrifices itself, putting it in the graveyard, which then gets to bring back all the lands, including the Shifting Woodland, which then becomes a copy of the Aftermath Analyst. When we pay the 4, of course. And then we just do it all over again.
How does this deck win?
Well, that's the thing. There are a couple of ways that you can
win. Seems like doing an awful lot of hold on, I need to move cards between zones. Give me half an hour.
Graham, you got it. That's one of the issues. Not only is this deck incredibly powerful, but it is a logistical nightmare for paper decks or paper tournaments.
And it seems like hell.
Yeah, it is hell because, and I appreciate this as a combo gamer myself, why would I put a card into my deck that, for the combo finish, if I don't need to put in such a targeted thing? I love a Tendrils of Agony, but if I can kill you with a card that I would be playing for reasons other than killing you, I'm going to do so. That just makes it so much easier. It's like Walking Ballista is a great example. The 0 mana artifact of sometimes you want this creature available to kill a Thalia or a pesky thing or keep me alive. But then if I add infinite mana and do an artifact combo, there's the Walking Ballista and I can use it to shoot you dead. Or the Eggs deck, just looking for artifacts to put themselves in the graveyard. Then you find one that can mill them out like Codex Shredder or Pyrite Spellbomb or whatever to burn them out. And so the Amulet decks figure out how to kill the opponent while avoiding playing a card that does nothing except for kill the opponent. It's just depending on what that card is, because there's a couple of avenues, takes a long ass time.
Yeah, you can't 20 someone with an Aftermath Analyst very quickly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's not.
What's one example?
I mean, you could use stuff with like Odawara, and you bounce their board, and you get to bounce all your stuff.
You just keep them from doing anything for ages.
Yeah, you can like besiege you all their lands and blow up their stuff. You can make infinite Primeval Titans using Mirror Pool.
I'm in level with you. Obviously, this sounds like this deck is miserable to play against.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It sounds like it's kind of miserable to play.
Well, you have to be
like I appreciate. Look, I do love decks where you just like set up a horrible machine and you're just sitting there like pulling gears and you get to be like, look at what I've done. I appreciate the fun in that, but it seems like for a constructed format, getting in reps with this is just like, okay.
You'd think, but I'm a genetic freak and I'm not normal. And there are sickos all over the world where that's all they want to do is they want to min-max and learn every combo, every like machination. And it becomes an obsession, right? So it is incredibly difficult to pilot, incredibly difficult to execute, time consuming, and also just offers a variety of interaction points that somebody might pass on some number of them and then say okay on some like other, it's a mess. So they wanted to impact this deck but not ban it outright. They're not banning, or they haven't banned Amulet yet. They are unlikely to ban Amulet at this point.
I mean, Lotus Field seems like the biggest problem with it, but
yeah, the Analyst, the Lotus Field, the Shifting Woodland, some of those cards interact in, they find other homes basically. But Lotus Field is somebody's always up to no good with Lotus Field. And for what it's worth, Amulet Titan still good. There are actually two different versions of the deck that have popped up since. There's the mono green version, which is like 55 hamburgers, 55 Primeval Titans, 55 Scape Shift. Like, it's just Azusa, very classic Dryad of the Elysian Grove. And then there's a green-red version that still has a lot of the, like, same kind of... Like, there's a lot of overlap, obviously, but the green-red that has just more singleton cards, more kind of like Green Sun Zenith targets and all that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Now, Modern is, however, operating revenue neutral on cards banned because we got 2 unbannings in Modern as well.
Yeah.
So first up, Violent Outburst. Now, we do these shows on TapTap fairly frequently, like whenever there's a day with a bunch of big bans, right? Didn't they just ban this? And by just, I mean like within the last
2 years ago.
Yeah. Like this was fairly recent. I want to say
pre-Modern Horizons 3. I will say that.
Did they?
So maybe,
okay,
yeah.
So not as recently as I thought.
But it does feel like it's very recent.
Maybe it was recently banned. Maybe it was more recently banned in a different format. I don't know.
Time flies.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Before we get into what Violent Outburst is and why it's no longer a problem, I guess.
Well,
who are these little guys? What are they?
I don't know. They kind of look like the homunculus that are created on both Esper and on, I think it's primarily Esper. Maybe some of them show up in Grixis.
Huh.
But they look like those homunculus.
They're some funky little dudes.
Who knows, dog? It's Alara Reborn.
Yeah.
Everything's all weird and mushed together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Violent Outburst, it's 1 red-green. For an instant, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. That's it. It's just an instant speed, like 1 power trumpet blast.
Sure.
But it has Cascade.
Yeah, Cascade.
It's like got to be one of the cheapest Cascade spells.
Yeah, so there are 4 3-mana Cascade spells in Modern right now. Shardless Agent, the creature that was printed into Modern originally printed in a Plane Chase product, reprinted in Modern Horizons 2, I want to say. And then 3 of them from Alara Reborn. Ardent Plea, which is blue-white, Violent Outburst, which is green-red, and Demonic Dread, which is black-red. What the cards do doesn't matter a ton.
You're just trying to cascade.
It matters for Demonic Dread in a way because Demonic Dread requires a target.
Oh, right. This one you can just cast.
And you can cast this one at instant speed.
Which means... Are the others all sorceries? Or creatures?
A sorcery, an enchantment, and a creature. They all walk into a bar.
Okay.
Violent Outburst lets you cast it at instant speed on your opponent's end step, and you make rhinos, 4/4 rhinos off of Crashing Footfalls, which was very popular.
Loading Ready Run preview card.
Yep. And you can also Living End.
Oh, fudge.
Which, Living End... pretty darn good deck already. Like it got a lot of juice from, or some amount of juice, I should say, from ECL with Deceit and some of the evoke elementals.
Right.
Wistfulness and Deceit.
Living End, it's, there we go, thank you, right. It's got no mana cost because it has suspend 3 for 2 black. Each player removes all creature cards in their graveyard from the game, then sacrifices all the creatures. Then they put all the cards. Basically, both players trade what the creatures they have in play and the creatures that are in their graveyard.
Yes.
They just swap.
Yeah,
but it has no casting cost, so you can cascade into it with anything.
Yes.
You're going to hit it because it's cheaper than 3.
And there are a lot of creatures that you can put in the graveyard pretty easily through cycling. Importantly, land cycling, as introduced with Lord of the Rings.
Right.
So
and
your
those
generous
creatures are all too big to get hit by the cascade.
Yep.
So, Generous End.
Generous End, Troll of Khazad-dûm.
The troll,
and Oliphant now,
Oliphant,
because typically the Living End deck is like blue-green. It can have some additional colors. There are multiple variations of it. But getting, blue-green lets you cast Shardless Agent. And they would have white to cast Ardent Plea when that was the other option they had. And you get Teferi 3 and some other stuff. But now you get to play Rug, which means you're Oliphant is a 6/4 trampler that gives another attack when it attacks. Another thing gets +2/+0 and trample. Great at killing your opponent. Gets you access, obviously, to... you don't have Fury, thank God. But you also get access to Fire Ice, a split spell, which in your deck has 4 mana value, meaning it can't get hit. But you can use it to kill off a pesky hate bear or tap an opponent down and draw a card so that you can combo off. Wow. There's some evoke cards too, like Ingot Chewer, although Foundation Breaker can show up. The point being is Living End, which was already really good, got some additional tools, got the best Cascade card, and it's just like, oh yeah, we could play red cards too. Isn't that nice?
So why is it okay to unban
That is such a great question. This has been, I would say, the most controversial.
I felt, looking down the list, I felt like this was the one I was going to have the most questions about. Well, it's really just one question, which is, huh?
Yeah.
But that I would have that question the most about.
A lot has happened. A lot has changed. Again, pre-MH3, you have some more tools.
Oh, was MH3, was that a relevant release?
I don't know why Violent Outburst got unbanned. Okay. Because if you wanted to be a Cascade gamer, you could play Living End already, and it was like a top contending archetype. Wrathing the board's pretty good in Modern right now. Like getting to do, if Boros Energy is running around, wrath the board and make a bunch of dum-dums, get a Waker Waves in play, you're off to the races, baby. Even making Rhinos, not great, but a thing that could be done. Like there were still some niche, like, Crashing Footfalls decks running around. So a bit of a... Yeah. I can tell you why it's really good and what it does, but why it got unbanned... They probably say something in the article of like, oh, we felt that enough changes had happened that we could do this. And Modern's so diverse, so let's shake it up. That's
basically exactly it. It was initially banned in a very different version of Modern. Hair over 2 years ago. Pre-MH3, Underworld Breach, Grief, The One Ring, and Gigantha were still legal, and we hadn't seen the shakeup that came with unbanning Mox Opal, Green Sun Zenith, and Faithless Looting, and there have also been some extremely potent hate cards for Cascade decks printed since,
such as Consigned
Memory and Vexing Bauble.
Vexing Bauble? What's that one from?
That doesn't say.
Modern Horizons 3.
Oh! So yeah, they do say unbanning Outburst is risky given the recency of its ban, but we believe there are clear upsides to these sort of decks existing in Modern and are happy to take a calculated risk.
The calculation being, do I have enough artifacts to play Kappa Cannoneer on turn 1 or turn 2?
I'm so glad you mentioned...
Which one do I have to wait?
So glad you mentioned artifacts.
Oh, yeah.
Umezawa's Jite.
Hell yeah, baby. Who cares if it's 10 years too late? Let's get that Jite back in this format.
Okay.
Pretty cool card. Not good. Jite is kind of funny.
Jite was a day 0 ban for Modern.
That's right. This card has been on the ban list for like, I don't know,
15 years.
God, that's so long.
Yeah.
Umezawa's Jite is a powerful magic card. Quite good with a bunch of creatures running around. Reasonable even if people aren't doing creature stuff, but for 60 card formats, it's often one that you're probably only playing one of in like modern deck building sensibilities. And you're probably cutting it if you're against a combo deck. Banned because this card, if you haven't played with this card, it's a nightmare. It is the game is about Umezawa's Jite, controlling the Jites and like trying to out Jite your opponent.
This was infamously one of those cards where they realized too late in design that they had made a mistake and quickly threw in a fix.
Which was also a mistake.
Which it turns out to be potentially a bigger mistake. So originally, one of the modes of Jite was going to generate black mana.
Yeah.
And then they were like, wait, no, black doesn't do that. That doesn't. We can't have mana generation like that. Certainly not. Excuse me, I'm allergic to value. Certainly not on. Like it just doesn't make sense for like an equipment to be generating black mana. This doesn't work. So let's just. I can't remember exactly what it was. It might have been the -1/-1, but they were like, we'll replace it with one of these other things.
Yeah.
And then it turns out, that was a problem. The fact that it's any combat damage, and that the counters go on the Jite, so killing the creature doesn't even get rid of the counters. The Jite can still sit there and go, okay, well, I'm just going to gain life, or I'm going to kill your thing, or I'm going to pump this creature. The creature has to be the equipped creature, but still, it's a good card.
Magic the Gathering's a much different card game now, 21 years after Jite came out. Modern's a much different format, 15 years after it was introduced, or that sounds wrong, but you're right. Modern's a different format than 2 years ago. Completely different, actually, just completely paved over the old Modern.
Yep.
Anyways, this is a card that people were kind of asking about getting unbanned for a while. It feels like it could have probably been unbanned for a while, but if it goes wrong, it's really bad, and if it goes right, it's probably not showing up in that many spots, right? Like
the told you so equity on unbanning Jite and it going badly is enormous.
It's
because it was a day 0 ban, right?
Yes.
If you unban it and that turns out to be a disastrous decision, it's like
Punishing Fire is in a similar spot. Punishing Fire being a 2-mana instant that deals 2 to any target, and if an opponent gains life, you can pay a red to return from your graveyard to your hand. Like the benefit of this card showing up and it's not ruining everybody's day is like, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you have a Punishing Fire Grove control deck, maybe. And then if it turns out it's too good, it's like, congratulations, you can't play creatures.
Yeah.
And so I understand the hesitancy, especially with a card that has such a history. But yeah, now it's probably been fine for quite some time. It has seen some play. There are some Hammer Time decks that the Colossus Hammer, Stoneforge Mystic, Pure Steel Paladin kind of decks that will play. Typically, the list that I saw, they'll play one in the main. Some of them have been playing some more in the sideboard as well.
One Jite?
One Jite.
Okay.
It's a good card. Like, don't get me wrong. Jite is a good card. Often undervalued by Zoomers. And overvalued by boomers. But if you get right in the middle, us woke millennials, we understand that Jite, I mean, it's a funny card where like traditionally it was more powerful in higher powered formats, but also maybe because that's the only place it was legal. But like, it's really good if it's killing like Mind Sensors and Dark Confidants and Llanowar Elves and whatnot. And then, but like, nobody's doing that anymore. Like Cube is where that happens, and not Modern. So it's fine to, it's fine. It's fine.
All right. Want to move on to Legacy?
Regrettably, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Only one change in Legacy. Undercity Informa has been banned.
Boom, boom, bam.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So Undercity Informer is a part of the Oops All Spells archetype.
I'm just gonna let me just read this first because this is like a draft uncommon from Gatecrash.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. 2 and a black for a 2/3 human rogue for 1 generic mana and sack a creature. Target player reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land, and they put those cards into their graveyard.
Great.
So this is what did we just? There was a name we came up with for this. It wasn't Mind Crank. It was Mind Drink because it was Mirko did this.
That Mind Funeral is kind of the original version of this effect.
Yeah, but there was like it was not Mill. It was we tried to come up with some sort of colloquialism for what this was. I can't remember. Anyway, this was like a thing that Ravnica Vampires did for a little while because you had the Mirko Vosk Mind Drinker deck did this sort of thing, and there was a card that you just cast it and it did this, and there was the Balustrade Spy.
Mind Grind.
Mind Grind. Right, grind. That's what it was. Yeah, you grind them.
You mind grind.
Yeah. And so was this in the same deck as Balustrade Spy?
It is. Yes.
Okay.
That's the Wingus and Dingus of this deck.
Okay.
Funny now, this card is banned in 2 formats because Balustrade Spy and this card are banned from Pioneer. Yeah.
It's just an uncommon. He's just a little guy.
Well, it's just a 4-mana mill your library, kill them with Thassa's Oracle, Dread Return, do a bunch of stuff, drain them, do so many things, and do so with black mana. Typically pretty good. There's a card called Dark Ritual where you add 3 black mana for 1.
What?
Insane magic card.
Was this Modern Horizons 3?
I know what you're thinking. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't put like a Dark Ritual into MH3 or like Cabal Ritual or something. So you would get out one of these, you'd sack it and mill yourself, and then hit Narcomoebas, hit some Poxwalkers or whatever, and there's a Dread Return. Again, you bring back the Thoracle, yada, 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 and this happens turn 1. Often with some hand attack backup as well. That's cool. And it doesn't play any lands, but it plays the Motoface double cards that can be played as lands. Oh. And so you do play lands, just not technically land cards in your deck, which means that you can have the I'm going to combo off, go and kill you on turn 1. But you can also play a slower game plan, develop some hate pieces, some counter hate pieces, whatever, and then kill your opponent. So very powerful, shockingly resilient. Can also just pivot into a Goblin Charbelcher deck in the board, and has been a bit of a nightmare for Legacy players for a while. But and for what it's worth, has been a deck where people are like, why didn't you make a change? Why wasn't there a change for a while? They decided to ban 1/2 of it so that it could still exist in some capacity, and they left the Spy because of a certain card called Consigned to Memory. Also, I think maybe they mention there's a Dreadnought deck that occasionally shows up in Legacy where having a Doorkeeper Thrall or a Torpor Orb can stop the Balustrade Spy, and it's just even though you could Pithing Needle this or do whatever, the fact that you could respond to the activation with another activation if you had multiple creatures. I talked to some people about why they went with the Informer over the Spy, and Consigned to Memory was the number 1 card that showed up, but there are some other reasons. Sure, why not? To hell with this deck. It sounds like a real pisser.
Yeah.
I don't play Legacy anymore. Format kind of changed from what I liked about it. They introduced Modern Horizons 3 to Legacy, and not a huge fan. And so it's not my monkey, not my circus, not my monkeys.
All right.
Yeah.
Vintage, there were no changes.
Best format in the game, baby.
Okay.
It's a real banger.
Great.
Yeah, Vintage is great.
Okay.
You should play Vintage. You should, and you proxy it up, play on Magic Online. There's a shockingly large player base of Vintage on Magic Online.
Sweet.
Yeah.
One change in Pauper.
Yes. Temporary unban.
Temporary unban.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. They unbanned Bonder's Ornament.
If you're not familiar with this one, it's going to look real funny to you.
Oh, yeah. This one. This is from, what, Ikoria?
Yeah, Commander
Originally?
2020.
Yeah. So it's a 3 mana artifact, tap to add 1 mana of any color. So it's a manalith. But then it also has, for 4 and tap, each player who controls a permanent named Bonder's Ornament draws a card.
So pretty good in the Tron decks. Tron is a big player in Pauper.
Yeah.
And was just a little too good. Gave you mana fixing, gave you card draw. It's kind of funny that if you have Tron, you tap the tower to play the ornament, and then you can tap 4 from the mine in the power plant to draw a card immediately.
Huh. So this is a trial unban, apparently.
Yes. Yeah,
Was that so good that it needed to be banned?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And they've done this trial and ban with Prophetic Prism and with High Tide before. But the Prism one, they're like, great, it's unbanned. Okay. The High Tide is banned in Pauper.
Right. They were like, wait, no.
Well, that was like, they're like, great, High Tide looks great. People are losing. And it's like, no, you don't understand. This deck's so hard to play. And people are excited because it's new, but they don't know what they're doing. And then it's just ended up being real bad in terms of logistics. Takes so much time. Not interactive in the slightest. And just like too powerful for what it's doing. So yeah, High Tide ended up kicking the bucket. This card seems fine. If you, again, a ban that happened before Modern Horizons 3, which you won't believe this, has impacted Pauper quite a bit.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's some good cards. There's a card called Refurbish Familiar, the Rat Bird.
Yep.
Yeah, so 1 black for a 2/1, they discard a card, and if they don't, you draw a card, and it has flying. Also, it's an artifact.
Well, thank goodness.
Shake my hand.
Thank goodness Writhing Chrysalis is an uncommon.
Well, here's the thing. So there are decks. Yeah, no. Chrysalis.
To clarify, it's not. It should have been. It's not. It's a common.
It's a common. And if you drafted that format, you'd also know that that's a problem.
Yeah. That card. The annoying thing about Modern Horizons 3, for me as a primarily limited player, is that obviously Nadu sucked, but you didn't have like Chukos or stuff in the format to like really abuse Nadu. But it like Nadu still sucked when someone resolved Nadu. If it wasn't for Writhing Chrysalis, that draft format would have been like top 3 of
so
all
much
time.
fun.
The draft format of MH3 was amazing. Except for Writhing Chrysalis should have been an uncommon.
And I forced energy so much in that format.
Yeah.
Just every version of the energy deck, I loved it. I found success with it. And then people started discovering that Chrysalis was the best thing. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. If I don't have Static Prison in my deck, I lose. And if I do, they have a second Chrysalis because my prison's an uncommon and there's stupid things a common. So Writhing Chrysalis is quite good in Pauper.
Yeah, I bet.
It's a different format. The Tron deck is right now. Tron was still quite good. There are different versions of Tron. And, they're like, yeah, it's fine. We're probably okay to bring it back. Since they brought it back, it has showed up in the Tron deck and a little bit in the Gardens deck. Or the Jund Wildfire. Some of the more grindy kind of decks are like, yeah, let's try a couple in here. And they've found success. They've, at least trophied. But like the thing about Pauper is there are people that this is all they play. It's their jam. They trophy with a ham sandwich in there. They're like, I added this new card to Jund Wildfire. It sucked. Anyways, I went 5-0. So, yeah. The ornament seems fine. Seems all right.
And then... So in Alchemy, which again is like the Alchemy format is like standard, but you can play Alchemy cards. This is arena only. The Sewer Valence Cam was banned. So it's a TMNT card. It's a single blue mana. It's an artifact with flash. When it enters or leaves, you can tap or untap a creature, and you can pay 3 and tap to sack it and draw 2 cards.
Do you know why it's banned?
No.
Okay. James, pull up Alchemy Vivi, please.
Alchemy Vivi. What?
So so Vivi's banned in Standard.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if you'll even be able to bring it up. So Alchemy Vivi, what they did is they changed the 0 ability of adding mana into a tap ability.
Oh, no.
Which means you tap it, add a bunch of blue, play the sewer cam, triggers Vivi, untaps Vivi, tap Vivi, add a bunch of blue or whatever. And then you sack the sewer cam to... Oh my god.
So yeah, Vivi as printed had this 0 cost ability, but you could only do it once per turn, right? That's what it was?
Yeah.
To add X mana in any combination of blue or red, where X is Vivi's power, but whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on him and you deal 1 damage to each opponent. But for Alchemy, recall, for those of you who may not remember this, that they do sort of like digital only hot fixes for cards. They sort of like have the Alchemy versions. They can patch cards, I guess. And so yeah, Alchemy Vivi, it's you can do it more than once a turn, but it's a tap ability. So yeah,
2 things. One, people play this format for money for some reason. And in fact, I think they're doing it right now.
Oh,
there's like an arena championship challenge or whatever. That's funny. Number 2, there are a lot of people that are like, I wish Alchemy didn't exist. It's stupid, yada, yada, yada. And like, I'm not here to say one way or the other, but if Alchemy didn't exist, we wouldn't get the funniest thing to happen to Magic in a while. Like they imagine they're like, okay, we updated this card. It does something completely different. So now you have a version in paper and a version online that you might get confused with. Also, it broke with a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles card. It's just so funny. Oh.
Wow, that's really silly.
Yep. Yeah.
There were no other changes in Historic or Timeless or Brawl.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
Pretty sure people are out there like sacrificing 4 copies of Strip Mine in Timeless.
That's effed up.
I can't take Arena seriously.
Apparently they're adding like a different tier of Brawl. I heard. I didn't look into it because I don't play Brawl.
Smart.
But apparently, because there was, you've heard of the Hell Queue.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently there's like, they're like formalizing that in some, I don't know. I shouldn't, you know what? Ignore me.
Okay.
I will look into this more.
Would you like me to read the section?
Oh, no, now I would, yes.
To continue to improve the experience for all players, we are releasing our next iteration of Brawl matchmaking on Tuesday, May 19th.
Oh.
This will be an experimental and major change to how Brawl matchmaking works so that it prioritizes finding opponents with similarly matched commander tiers, disregarding the skill level of the opponents. We expect this change will increase the number of matches similarly powered commanders while maintaining reasonable matchmaking times. With stricter commander-based matchmaking, we aim to pair players with similar expectations against each other and allow more space for experimentation. This is an intentional change to make unranked Brawl less competitively focused.
I have several questions, but the first one that sort of rushes to the forefront of my mouth is, who is deciding the power level of a Brawl commander?
They took one Arena employee and put them in a room and said, you gotta tick a box.
Is this commander good or not?
Golos, Kenrith, Essica,
The clock guy.
Rusko,
Yeah.
and then everything else. I don't know.
Fresco's such a problem.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything about. I feel like if I say anything bad about Brawl, that I am directly saying something bad about Amy. And
I know.
and I don't want to do it.
Because Amy plays Brawl so much.
That's her whole thing,
and she's great.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
But the format sucks.
I don't know how she does. I don't know how she does this to herself.
I was shocked to find out how many people play Brawl. Mind you, a lot of their answers were, "What else am I going to do?" And I was,
damn.
yeah, I mean, like,
try draft. It's fun.
No, but draft can take long.
Yeah,
and it costs money. Brawl's free.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Secrets of Strixhaven's been a great draft. By the way.
SOS was pretty good. I liked SOS. Dookie but kooky. That somebody said that. I'm like, damn that.
Kooky.
Yeah, Dookie but kooky. Yeah, it's fun. It's weird. I enjoy doing it. I like doing it. And I could do a variety of things. Wow, is there some real stinkers in there?
What I've been enjoying. This is a brief 40 card update. What I've been enjoying is that unlike when you remember when Khans of Tarkir came back to like flashback draft, and everyone was like, "Oh, good, now it's my turn to force 5 color morphs," and they just ruined the table. Right, everyone at the table would just like the whole pod was just effed because everyone was trying to force 5 color morphs and you couldn't do a normal deck. Now in Secrets of Strixhaven, a lot of people are trying to force 4 and 5 color soup.
Oh, converge,
decks, right? But what it means for Secrets of Strixhaven is that all the cards that the individual colleges want, if you're just like, if you open like a cool white rare and you're like, I'm going to draft Silver Quill, the Silver Quill cards you want are available because the soup drafters are ignoring them.
Right.
So you get to put together a really good Silver Quill deck or a really good Witherbloom deck, and you can just play a college and get a good functional deck out of it because you're not fighting for the same cards with the people that are like, I want all the converge. You won't get any fixing, but if you're only in 2 colors, that's probably fine.
When everybody was trying to force morphs, you know who had 2 thumbs and 5 Valley Dashers? This guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool.
Great.
Well, anything else on the status of 60 cards at the moment?
Cube's great, man. I love Cube.
But you do like Standard and you want people to play it.
I do like Standard. Yeah, I wish I like Standard and I like the idea of Pioneer. And I wish, and Pioneer is like, not the hashtag this isn't financial advice, but if you went over to cardkingdom.com right now, I bet you could buy some dirt cheap Thoughtseize. Like Thoughtseize, it's wild the amount of money that you spend.
$20 at one point.
The cards, I mean, it might be different, but I saw somebody saying like Thoughtseize is like $5. You could buy your Pioneer staples now if you want to play that format.
Especially if they're going to actually do something with it next year.
God, yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be cool. I'd like Pioneer. Pioneer is a format I want to see succeed. Modern can crash and burn. Those people deserve what they get. Legacy players, your format's been dead for a while. Give it up. Just sell it off and buy into Vintage. You'll have a better time. I beg you. Unless you live in the like DC, Virginia area, then you're trapped. Playing your bad pile.
All right. Well, hey, that's going to do it for TapTapConcede. Reminder, of course, to check out Card Kingdom for perhaps your Pioneer staples. CardKingdom.com/LRR. Tell them we sent you and ask for a button. Dragon Shield. Use the code LRRMTG5 to get yourself a discount. And most importantly, everything we do here at Loading Ready Run is brought to you by you and your support of our Patreon or becoming a member on this YouTube channel. Until next time, I have been Graham, joined by Wheeler.
I just thought of Alchemy Vivi again.
James has been on tech. Heather gets these online. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.